Joining me today on the coach's corner is Justin Garza High School football coach, Yosef Fares. Hey, coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no sweat. Glad to have you on. I want to talk about your game last night. Looked like it ended. Looked like it was pretty much crazy out there. You guys pulled it out, 29-27. Tell me about that game at the wanting seconds. What happened there?
Man, that was a crazy game. You don't get many of those games in your coaching career, and that was one of them. And I can tie that to just a couple I remember. But it was a really good coaching battle. They do a tremendous job at Kerman, Damon Jenkins, Anthony McCoy. I mean, that's a tremendous football team. Have nothing but the utmost respect for those guys, football wise, player wise. And it was a 2020 tie, kind of just going into that fourth quarter. Real defensive battle in that second half. We had a drive there, kind of took it down, left about 4 minutes on the clock, got a field goal out of it, took it up 23-20. Then they drove down and scored on a fourth down on a great play design by them, and left us with 56 seconds on the clock. We got the ball back, and we're fortunate enough to drive it all the way down to the to the goal line. Used our last timeout, got in big personnel, snapped the ball. We fumble the ball, but they jump off sides, and we get another shot at it and put it in and kind of have a walk-off rushing touchdown to win the game. So it was a quite a bowl of emotions there at the end of that thing.
I bet who's the runner that scored? The
Samir
Rucker.
Muhammad.
Okay. Uh, at, at the timeout, what did you tell the players before that play, coach? Did you guys decide this is what you guys want to do? I mean, you talked about you had a little miscue there, but you guys got bailed out by that all sides.
Yeah. We kind of we knew what we wanted to do, and the fumble was on the snap. It was just a bad snap, and we knew we had the numbers. We knew we had the beef. We had been working that situation actually for like the last 4 weeks, and just really hadn't had an opportunity to work that situation. And so we just kind of went back to what our process was, what our practices were, fundamental wise, and executed the second time around, and it paid off for us.
That's a huge win. I mean, you go to Kermit in a hostile environment, the whole town's out there. They're ranked, in the top 25 and, riding a good momentum until, I mean, it just seemed like it was back and forth, right? I mean, you guys had the game, I think it was like a two-score game, and then they came back and just, I mean, they didn't quit.
Yeah, no, yeah, a lot of people kind of counted us out in this game, and so that's kind of been what it is this year, and we're okay with it. We like that. We like to prove it between the lines, and we had them on the ropes there. We were 20-6. They scored at the end of the half, in the first half, on some of our prevent defense, and then they got the ball back at the start of the second half and went down and scored on that drive. And then after that, it was kind of just a bunch of three and outs. Defensive football kind of took place, and it was that last part of the fourth quarter where things just kind of opened up a bit, and both teams kind of put together two solid drives for us to go up by a field goal and for them to go up by four, and the touchdown that they scored. And then that last 56 seconds, man, we just clicked. We had worked 2-minute offense um, all off season. Really didn't have a chance to work it. Never really got put in the situation, and so I credit my coaches, I credit my players, kind of for us practicing those situations, 2-minute offense, and then that goal line situation where we were able to execute and really rely on our preparation for that moment.
What did you learn about your players after last night's game?
Well, what I've learned is that they've been listening. We talk about Murphy's Law. Anything bad that can happen will happen at an inopportune time, and so we always talked about just battling Murphy. Murphy pops up. You can't let him get in your head, and you got to battle him, kind of put him to the side, focus on the process. And our kids did that. No one hung their head, and they rose to the challenge. They proved that they're physical. I think that was a championship caliber football team, and I think that was a championship caliber football game. And I really like what I saw, and I'm excited to just see him grow. You know, we're nowhere near our potential, and that's a good thing because we're not close to playoffs yet. Still got to get through CMAC, which is a tough league. You know, with those teams kind of rolling right now, so we got a long way to go. But it was a nice win for the program. First time in program history we've been 3-0.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable considering when you took over, when you started over there. Seemed like yesterday when you started. Can you just give me run back the time where you were hired over there,
Yeah,
Garza?
no, during COVID, they hired me, and that's when I decided to leave Bullard as the co-head coach, and move on from that situation and kind of just go start my own thing. The opportunity was too great. You know, Justin Garza was a friend of mine, and I wanted to make sure that the program was done right. So, jumped at the opportunity. We started there. School wasn't even built yet. Our first spring practice was at Glacier Point, and you know, just kind of building those kids up from freshmen, playing our first varsity season without seniors and with half a junior class, making it to the playoffs that first year, and you know, making it to the second, you know, winning our first playoff game as well, and moving on to the second round was a remarkable accomplishment in the first year of varsity football. Second year, you know, we had some ups and downs, but we won three CMAC games, which was huge for us, and again made it to the playoffs and bumped up a division. You know, we've always climbed every single year in the division we played in, and we played in Division Two that year and took Lemoore to the wire. I think we would have beat them if we didn't fumble that ball there, but you know, ifs and whats, whatever, you know, they all that saying. But either way, we performed really well. And then last year, you know, we had a ton of adversity throughout that whole season, and still made it to the playoffs and still gave a great showing against Kerman, who won the Valley Championship, only losing by 1 point. But you know, a lot of growth happened in that season, and we talk about if you want extreme growth, you know, you got to be put in uncomfortable situations. And last year's season was in uncomfortable situations, but those kids that stuck around, those coaches that stuck around, that was we protected our spirit. And you get in an uncomfortable situation, you got to protect your spirit to have extreme growth. And I think we're seeing some of that kind of come to fruition right now. We had a lot of extreme growth with this group, and we're excited for them.
Yeah, you talk about players coming and going. You had your first senior class graduated already. Remember those guys, your quarterback, your receiver, and your athlete. You know, he did it all. Talk about Alexander. Now you got a whole group of players that are buying into your system, 3-0. Coach comes in, replace Coach Petrosons and stuff, but you still got the ball rolling over there at Garza. What are your expectations from now to the end of the season? What do you want to see from the guys?
You know, I've just grown in this profession, Anthony, and I've just grown in this mindset that, you know, I'm thinking about Washington Union right now. I'm taking it one day at a time. You can't really get too far ahead here. We're just going to focus on each day, and not let the future kind of dictate our mental health or our mental state. And so we're really just focused on each day and trying to win each day. I couldn't give you what I expect out of this team. What I expect them is to show up on Monday at 7:30, run their gassers, and get into film and game plan meetings as well as a lift, and then get out to practice and perform well. That's what I
Yeah,
expect.
that's the big one too. Washington Union coming up. They're 2-0 right now. They beat Lemoore. You talk about Lemoore already. Uh, they got by who was it? Torres
Matilda Torres.
yesterday. So a big one, another big one for you guys.
Yeah. They're very talented, and you know we're excited for the challenge. You know we want to measure ourselves up against the best, and I think you know with Kerman and Washington Union and even Lone Poke, who's 3-0 right now, we got them after that, and then we go into CMAC. You know, so there's no easy ones on our schedule. We gotta fight. We gotta compete. We gotta prepare, and we gotta make the main thing the main thing.
Last question before I let you go, Coach. You joined the Niners this past year as a fellowship of Bill Walsh. You were in Chicago and the Atlanta, now the Niners. How's that, all that experience? How much of that experience going over there, learning from the coaches that you see on Sundays, helped you to where you're at right now?
Oh, I think a lot of it has come to it. You know, just my mindset. You know, you hear me talk about some of the process and those things, and just the focus and making the main thing the main thing. I've learned that from a lot of guys. You know, in my fellowship. You know, Gus Bradley, huge mentor of mine, coming out of San Francisco, really sat down, talked with me, gave me some insight, gave me some wisdom, and it was just a pleasure to sit there and just learn ball from those guys and seeing how they do it at the highest level and seeing how different guys teach and not everybody's the same and you don't have to be a screamer and a yeller and you don't have to be you know the nicest guy on the field but the standard is the standard and that's kind of what we bring here and then the preparation and kind of just relaying to the kids this is what I saw Fred Warner do this and prepare like this and you guys want to be that guy, so this is what you got to do. From an X and O standpoint, we definitely adopt some things, but we try to keep things simple for the kids so they can fly around. That's the most important thing.
All right, great. Joining me today was Yosef Fares, Justin Garza High School football coach. His team is now 2-0. They'll face Washington Union this coming Thursday, right, Coach? It's Thursday?
Yeah, 3-0. We're 3-0.
3-0, yes. So another big game for them. So thank you for joining me, Coach.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you having me.